Today, I thought we'd take a few minutes and just discuss the whole recovery process. At points, this is one of those things that as accountants can take us a long time to go through and calculate all of the CAM, property tax, insurance recoveries with all their different nuances that we have to manage. So I thought I'd show you how we do those inside Sage Intacct Real Estate. So inside Sage Intacct, as we've seen before, you have the ability to look at all your dashboards and obviously break out all of your expenses based upon being non-reimbursable and reimbursable expenses. Well, it's nice to be able to go through and classify all of that, but how do you make all of that work when you're trying to make sure that you bill back to an individual lease the right way? Let's show you how we do that. Inside Sage Intacct Real Estate, the first thing we do is we allow you to go through and create a series of recovery templates. You can create as many templates as you'd like. They're not tied to any specific property or lease. This way you have the ability to make as many as you need and then have the ability to take that information and adapt it to each individual lease. Because when I get into the lease, I copy the template in and make any changes I need to from there. So let's show you how that works. So when we first go in and say, pull up this CAM template, the first thing we see are some overall general information. Number one, what would we like to name the template? What accounting method should it use? And you may remember Sage Intacct handles multiple different books of accounting. Accrual, cash, tax, GAAP. You can create user-defined books as well. I tell it how often we'll run this recovery. So in my example, what we're going to do is bill an estimate throughout the year, and then we'll do the reconciliation early in the following calendar year. Also, how far out would I like to go with my pro rata share? I'd like to go 2 decimal places out. And then we get into the meat of it, our expense categories. What things do we really want to bill back for? And do we want to pull into the system? So first we have user-defined expense categories. You can create all of these expense pools to say whatever it is you'd like them to say. You can tell us if they vary with occupancy or they're a fixed cost. And then, are they subject to an administration fee? Now we'll get into the details of how we calculate that administration fee in just a minute. Then typically, when we calculate our pro rata share, because remember, we're in a template, what square footage type would we like to use from the unit? And these are all the different square footage types that you have, completely user definable, inside Sage Intacct Real Estate. And then for the denominator, which property square footage type would you like to use? Now, once again, when you bring this over on a lease by lease basis, if you decide you don't want to use pro rata share for some reason, you have the ability to simply key in a percentage as well. And now we get into the general ledger accounts. So when we look at utilities, what GL accounts would we like to group within that? So now it is pulling directly from our general ledger, all the different accounts, and I can easily go in and choose what ones I'd like to add or take away from this scenario. So it's very easy for me to track all of those detailed GL accounts here in the system. And then I can customize those for each individual lease that I happen to be doing the recovery for. Now we get into how we actually calculate the reconciliation. With Sage Intacct Real Estate, we allow you to see exact order of those formulas and how those are affected when we're doing it. If we have an administration fee, here's where I'm able to go in and identify that administration fee and what percentage I might need it to be. Once again, this is at the template level. Also, we do have the ability to put in base years, stops, and caps. Probably won't typically do that at a template level, although I could create a template called CAM base year 2021 and then have the base year already in there. So when I copy it into a particular lease, the system already has that data loaded. So that's how we build all of the information within our template. Then we have the ability to go into our lease and apply that template. So let's go out here and let's grab Terry Richards. And we see that inside Terry, we've got a CAM recovery, our CAM charge that's been set up. We're billing an estimate throughout the year at this point. Now I go into my recovery settings, and at this point, everything's blank. I can choose to come in and pull from my templates, and now all of the information's filled in for me. The appropriate general ledger accounts are linked. If I've put in my base years and stops and caps, those are here, just right down here at the bottom. Or I can obviously manipulate these. So I come in now and I say, well, you know what, for Terry, what we've decided here is for some reason, they don't need to pay water. So I can simply just eliminate water from their recovery. Now, when I calculate this recovery, it won't include water for this one lease. And that is how we go through and establish and set up all of that recovery information. When it comes to actually running the process, what we do here is we have the ability to come in, of course, look at our general ledger, group the utility accounts together, hit view, and now it shows us what all of those accounts total in the system. When I'm in that particular recovery, as we had seen a few minutes ago, I have the ability to identify all of that as I'd like to, and now run the actual recovery. I go into the task menu under Recoveries, and I say Reconcile Charges. This will then allow me to go in and see all of the leases that need recoveries run from this property, or I could simply put in a recovery end date and have it show that way. Then when I process the recovery, what the system does is it gives me the detailed worksheet I need. Now, this will actually follow the transaction and be there for backup forever on the system. So in this scenario, we have Amanda Markham as a tenant. We're doing a recovery for 2023. However, this tenant moved in on January the 5th. So even though our total utilities for the year are $56,165, the system automatically prorates it down to the $55,549 because of the partial year occupancy where this tenant was not in for the full year. Then at that tenant's pro rata share of 30%, they owe $16,664.85 for their recovery for this space. They didn't have a stop or cap. They were previously billed $6,000. So therefore the system would generate a charge for $10,000. I think this shows very easily how Sage Intacct Real Estate has the ability to demystify recoveries in a much more user-friendly way, yet still make them adapted to each individual lease. Thanks very much again for your time. And if you'd like more information, please check out Sage Intacct Real Estate at sage.com. Thank you.